Welcome to the Tri-City Regional Chamber of Commerce Quick Takes Legislative Live Video Series. My name is Matt Murphy, the Government Regional Affairs Director here at the Chamber. In this series, we take quick visits with our local legislators. We want to know what's going on, what the hot topics are, and what in general is happening in Olympia. I want to thank the Tire Factory, Hayden Homes, and Great Northwest Transport for their support of this series as policy engagement partners. This week, we are joined by Senator Curtis King from the 14th Legislative District. Good morning, Senator King. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
The pleasure's mine. Thanks for the opportunity. It's great to see you as well.
So we are counting down the days. There's just about 2 weeks left and lots of work still to be done. I mean, we just got all three of the budgets last weekend or over the course of the last few days. So what are your thoughts in general on the budgets? They're supplemental, which means they're not, billions and billions of dollars, but they are billions of dollars.
Well, I would say, let me talk about transportation. It's probably the one I have the most knowledge on. In the Senate, we increased the budget by $1.5 billion. We mainly do that with the sale of bonds. We have bonding capacity based upon the taxes that we passed last year. We want to use that capacity. We're also using some bonds that had been approved previously. But basically, the new bonding would raise about $1.1 billion. We know that our roads and bridges and highways are in sad shape. We are substantially behind in how we handle those. And so a majority of that money over the next 6 years is going to go to what we call preservation, with an emphasis on bridges to see if we can't get caught up or at least make a dent in the challenge that we have with our bridges. We keep losing one or two every week. It seems like to at least have to shut them down until we can get them repaired. We need to address that sooner rather than later. And by selling bonds, we are able to then feel that we have the money to do that. We're getting the Department of Transportation set up to try to respond as those monies become available and identify what are the priorities as we talk about bridges, which ones are the most important. So that's how we address it. Unfortunately, the House does not use bonding. They have a variety of different ways to look at it. So we're going to have our challenges when we pass our budget and they pass their budget, and how we bring them together. That's the biggest challenge we have. In regards to the operating budget, as you undoubtedly heard, there is a bill going through that's passed out of the House, or out of the Senate. It's over in the House, I believe, that is called the millionaire's tax. It's basically an income tax. And interestingly enough, I believe they believe it's going to generate somewhere in the neighborhood of $4 billion. So here's my take on that is, okay, well, we passed a budget last year that had $9 billion in new taxes, plus $3.6 billion for cities and counties and schools if they want to use it. But basically, it was $12.6 billion in new taxes. The governor signed that bill or bills on the 21st of May last year. So move forward to January 12th when we started session this year, and we were already $4 billion in the hole. Now, rather than looking at, well, what's caused all of that, the answer from the other side of the aisle, I don't want to make this as political, try to stay out of that realm, but basically their answer was, well, we need the income tax. We need the millionaire's tax. And that's going to be plus some other taxes that I'm not sure whether they're going to make it out of here or not. That's what the next 14 days will tell us. And that's true of the millionaire's tax as well. But interestingly enough, yesterday, some articles, emails were found where the majority leader in the Senate has talked about the whole scheme of things, starting with the capital budget or, excuse me, starting with the capital gains tax as the first stepping stone to get to the millionaire's tax that would then become a state income tax. And he outlines just how they're going to do that in a couple of emails. Those emails were dated 2018. So they have this plan and they're working it really, really well. And if anybody believes that the income tax that they're going to put on millionaires is going to stay on millionaires, we all know that's not correct. But that's how they're balancing everything, in my opinion, in the operating budget. The capital budget is out. It wasn't quite as aggressive as I thought that they might be. As an example, what they told us in the Senate that we had to work with was about $300,000 individually. Now, there's a lot of other pots, but the challenge we have is if we're not on that committee is what are those pots and which ones are the hot ones. So we just have to look and see. But I think overall it appears that we did fairly well for the 14th, 15th, and 16th, and the 8th in what we were able to bring back to our districts. So those are the three budgets. We're going to have a challenge, as I say, in transportation. There's going to be lots of work between the House and the Senate in regards to what they do with the operating budget. We're anxious to see how that all comes about, but that's what the next 14 days are going to be about. I can assure you there'll be some late nights, there'll be some angst, and there'll be wailing and gnashing of teeth and all those things. So
Yeah,
that's what makes this job interesting.
absolutely. So it seems to me that their revenue projections, they say we got this tax and the projections for income revenue are going to be Y, and they never seem to match what the projections are. Um, it's like if they're $9 billion, and then now we're still 4 billion short, and you hear the various, people are leaving the state, or this isn't as working as well as we thought it was going to. What are those? Does anybody ever take a look at those numbers and say, well, they tell us it's this, but let's plan for, $1 billion
No,
less?
no. What they did last year is they looked at those numbers and said, "Oh, those can't be right." So, and they spent more money than they thought they projected to take in. Well, the other problem is just what you said. I'll give you an example. We have Heritage Brewing Distillery here in Olympia, a couple of other places I think in the state. When we rolled out those taxes last year, it wasn't 2 weeks when Heritage said we're done, we're picking up lock, stock, and barrel, and we're moving to Tennessee. Well, that's one industry or one company that's moving. I can tell you of a couple in Yakima that have lived their whole life there. They said,
Yeah.
and their advisor said, get out of Washington. They're selling. They're going to sell everything they own in Washington. They've turned over their remaining business to their son, and they're going to move. They don't want to move, but because their grandkids are there, their children are there, their life is there, but they're doing it. And then on top of that, when they talk to people, there's 8 or 9 other couples in Yakima Valley that are looking at doing the same thing. And if
Yeah.
that's happening in Yakima, it's happening in the Tri-Cities, it's happening in Everett, it's happening in Bellevue and Kirkland. This is what we're doing to people. We're making them uproot their lives, and that's not what government should be doing. But
Yeah.
this is where we're going with all of this. So
Yeah. And I can see that. And I've listened to some of the committee hearings, and, the committee members are always wanting, well, what proof do you have that says businesses are going to leave? And I think the proof is in historical data that they've already left and they will continue to leave. So,
I talked to a state elected official who told me he had 2 friends that have already moved, and another couple that's preparing to get out of the state. I mean,
mhm.
it's happening. They don't want to address it. But to your point, they don't want to go back and look at why, how after less than a year can you be $4 billion? Well, one, you overspent what you thought was coming in to begin with, and two, you didn't raise the same amount of money because people are people don't know what to do. So the investments that normally would have been made, people are not making those investments, and that's, but they don't want to look at the ramifications of all of the things that we've done and passed and all these taxes. So
All right, absolutely. So I promised Lori, your legislative aide, that I wouldn't take up all your morning. So last question here.
sure.
Before besides the budgets, you got 14 days to hash out those budgets and arm wrestle over those. Is there anything else that you'd really like to see accomplished before this session wraps up?
Well, I think my focus is going to be, I'm the ranking member on Labor and Commerce. We had our last meeting yesterday. We executed several bills out. So I think from that standpoint, following those bills, there's nothing that's earth shaking. There's a lot of them I don't like, and I hope don't make it to the governor's desk. But so we'll be fighting those. But my focus is mainly going to be on how do we get a good transportation budget out of this session. That's going to be my focus for the next 2 weeks. We have to negotiate with the House. I would say we did a poor job of doing that last year. I'm ready to be here till June if we have to, because I want a transportation budget that's going to work. So,
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I know you have a busy schedule, so I won't take any more of your time, but thank you,
so
Senator King.
thank you for
Uh,
the opportunity. I appreciate it. It's great to see you.
and we look forward to seeing you back here at home and appreciate all of the hard work that you do. And if there's anything that we can do for you here at this end, just let us know.
Okay. Well, you find out how bashful we are. So anyway,
All right.
thanks for the opportunity. Great
All
to
right.
see you.
Thank you,
Uh-huh.
Senator King. Bye.
Bye bye now.